Rejected by her groom on her wedding day, she married a wheelchair billionaire. The wedding ring struck the marble floor before Amara Eze understood that Dayo Lawson had thrown it at her. The soft music died. Hundreds of guests stopped whispering. Even the cameras seemed to freeze as the ring spun once beneath the white and gold altar, wobbled near the hem of Amara's satin gown, and fell flat at her feet. Dayo stood across from her in his ivory tuxedo, handsome, calm, and completely without shame. "Sign the land transfer papers," Dayo said, "or this wedding ends here." Amara stared at the folder in Dayo's hand. Only minutes earlier, she had been preparing to promise Dayo the rest of her life. Now Dayo wanted the property her late mother had left for a women's training center. "My mother did not spend 20 years building that place so you could demolish it for luxury apartments," Amara said. Dayo's expression hardened. "Then you have chosen a dead woman's dream over your living husband. You are not my husband yet, and now I never will be." Dayo threw the ring. Then Dayo turned toward the guests and announced that the wedding was canceled because Amara was selfish, disobedient, and incapable of understanding what marriage required. Amara's father did not defend her. Chief Emeka Eze rose from the front row and ordered Amara to sign. Mrs. Nneka Eze removed Amara's handbag from the bridal table as though Amara had already become a thief. Sade Eze, Amara's younger stepsister, stepped from behind the bridesmaids with one hand resting protectively against her stomach. Dayo walked toward Sade. Sade lifted tearful eyes and said the baby deserved a father who was free. The hall erupted. Some guests gasped. Others reached for their phones. Amara looked from Dayo to Sade and finally understood why Dayo had delayed the vows, why Sade had known details about the honeymoon, and why the two of them had exchanged smiles whenever Amara turned away. Her wedding had not collapsed in a single moment. It had been murdered slowly behind her back. Chief Emeka pointed toward the doors. "Sign those documents and save this family, or leave this hall without our name." Amara's heart broke so sharply that for several seconds she felt nothing at all. Then Amara turned, lifted the front of her gown, and walked through the watching crowd. By the time Amara reached the hotel lobby, the first video of her humiliation was already online. Amara stopped beneath the crystal chandelier and saw an unknown man seated near the entrance in a matte black wheelchair. The man wore a simple beige shirt and dark trousers. The man did not laugh. The man did not record her. The man simply watched Amara with deep, steady eyes, as though Amara was still a human being instead of the entertainment everyone else had paid to see. Amara crossed the lobby before common sense could catch her. "Are you married?" Amara asked. The stranger's eyebrows lifted. "No. Do you have a woman waiting for you?" "No." Amara swallowed the pain burning in her throat. "Then marry me." The stranger studied her face. "You do not know my name. I knew Dayo's name for 3 years." Amara glanced back toward the hall as laughter spilled through the doors. "Knowing him did not save me. You are hurt. I am humiliated. That is not the same as being ready for marriage. I did not say I was ready." Amara wiped a tear from her cheek. "I said I refused to leave this hotel as the woman Dayo Lawson discarded. If my wedding is going to become a story Lagos repeats for years, then I will decide how the story ends." The stranger's gaze sharpened. "And you would marry the first man you found?" "No." Amara looked directly into his eyes. "I would marry the first man who watched my life fall apart without enjoying it." For the first time, something moved behind the stranger's guarded expression. "My name is Kairo Adeyemi." Amara extended her hand. "My name is Amara Eze." Kairo looked at Amara's hand for one long moment before placing his palm against hers. "Then my answer is yes." What Amara did not know was that Kairo Adeyemi had not needed the wheelchair for a single day of his life. Kairo had no damaged nerves, no weak legs, and no tragic accident hidden in his past. Kairo could walk, run, swim, and stand for hours without pain. He had been pretending to be unable to walk because every woman who had approached the real Kairo Adeyemi had fallen in love with the same things: his private jet, his properties, his influence, and the billions controlled by Adeyemi Crown Holdings. Kairo had spent 18 months hiding his identity and living in a wheelchair, searching for one woman who would see a man instead of an empire. Amara was the first woman who had ever chosen him while believing the world had already chosen against him. But Kairo had another secret. Dayo Lawson's company was under investigation by Adeyemi Crown Holdings for using forged property documents as collateral. The most important property in that investigation was the land Amara had just refused to surrender. Kairo had entered the hotel expecting to observe Instead, Kairo was about to marry the woman whose family stood at the center of the fraud. The question was no longer only whether Amara could love a man she believed was poor and disabled. Kairo now had to discover whether Amara was innocent, or whether her impulsive proposal had placed the most dangerous person in the investigation directly beside him. 3 years earlier, Kairo had believed that wealth made love easier. He had been wrong. Wealth made introductions easier, invitations endless, and promises cheap. Women appeared wherever Kairo went. Some arrived through business families. Some entered through charity boards. Others found excuses to attend the same restaurants, art auctions, and private clubs. Every woman claimed to admire Kairo's discipline, intelligence, and ambition. Yet every conversation eventually reached the same destination: a mansion in Banana Island, a wedding covered by international magazines, shares placed in a wife's name, access to the Adeyemi family's private circles. Vanessa Adebio had been the closest Kairo came to marriage. Vanessa was beautiful, polished, and born into Lagos society. Vanessa knew exactly how to speak to Mama Adebisi Adeyemi, exactly when to touch Kairo's arm during public events, and exactly how long to pause before saying she loved him. Kairo believed Vanessa until one evening when Vanessa left her phone connected to the sound system inside Kairo's private study. Vanessa stepped into the garden and called a friend. Her voice floated through the speakers while Kairo stood alone beside his desk. "I do not care whether Kairo loves me," Vanessa had said. "Once I become Mrs. Adeyemi, love will be the least valuable thing he gives me." Vanessa laughed after saying it. That laugh remained with Kairo long after the engagement ended. Mama Adebisi warned Kairo not to let one woman poison every woman who came after her. Kairo tried. He met others. Some were kinder than Vanessa. Some were clever enough never to mention money directly. But Kairo had become skilled at recognizing hunger behind affection. One woman asked about inheritance before dessert. Another secretly photographed legal papers inside Kairo's office. A third told Kairo she would remain beside him through sickness, then refused to visit an injured uncle because hospitals made her uncomfortable. Kairo began wondering what would remain if wealth, power, and physical perfection disappeared from the room. That question became a plan. Kairo's face rarely appeared in the press. Adeyemi Crown Holdings was privately controlled, and Kairo conducted most high-level negotiations through Teo Balogun, his trusted executive assistant. Kairo could disappear without the public immediately understanding who had vanished. A simple apartment and bungalow were prepared under a holding company. Kairo purchased a wheelchair and learned to move in it naturally. Kairo changed his clothing, reduced his security presence, and introduced himself only by his name, never his title. Teo disliked the plan from the beginning. "This can discover whether people are cruel," Teo had said. "This cannot prove whether people are capable of love." Kairo disagreed. Mama Adebisi disagreed more strongly. A test is dangerous when the person being tested does not know there is an examination, Mama Adebisi told Kairo. The result may reveal another person's character, but it will also reveal yours. Kairo heard the warning and continued anyway. For 18 months, the wheelchair showed Kairo what money had hidden. Restaurant staff spoke to Teo instead of Kairo. Society women who once fought to sit beside Kairo suddenly avoided eye contact. People pushed the chair without permission, spoke slowly as though Kairo's legs had affected his intelligence, or praised him for performing ordinary tasks. Kairo was not truly experiencing disability. Kairo knew that. He could escape the chair whenever he wished, yet even the imitation exposed enough cruelty to deepen his mistrust. Then Amara walked toward him in a wedding gown and asked him to become her husband. Kairo should have refused. Amara was wounded, impulsive, and connected to an active corporate investigation. Instead, Kairo saw the way Amara's hand trembled while her voice remained firm. Kairo saw a woman choosing action because stillness would allow humiliation to crush her. More dangerously, Kairo saw the first woman who had looked at his wheelchair and asked about marriage before asking about money. Pastor Daniel Akoro followed Amara into the lobby. The pastor's face carried the exhausted concern of a man whose quiet ceremony had become public chaos. Amara, stop, Pastor Daniel said. Pain is speaking for you. Pain has been speaking around me all afternoon, Amara replied. This is the first decision that belongs to me. Dayo, Sade, Chief Emeka, and Mrs. Nneka gathered near the hall entrance. Guests crowded behind them. Dayo laughed when he saw Amara beside Kairo. You are going to replace me with that? Dayo asked. Amara turned. You will replace the moment you placed a price on my mother's memory. Chief Emeka's face darkened. You will not disgrace this family further. You disown me. I can withdraw angry words. You cannot withdraw the truth behind them. Sade stepped forward, holding Dayo's arm. Let her do it. When she understands what life with a wheelchair man means, Amara will come back begging. Kairo's hands tightened once against the wheel rims, but Kairo remained silent. Pastor Daniel asked to speak privately with Amara and Kairo. Inside a small consultation room, Pastor Daniel closed the door and placed 3 questions before them. Amara, are you being threatened? No. Are you marrying Kairo to punish Dayo? Amara hesitated. Partly. Pastor Daniel stared. Amara lifted her chin. I will not lie inside a room where I am asking for marriage. I want Dayo to understand that his rejection did not end my life. I want my family to understand that I belong to myself. I also want to stop feeling like every person in that hall has control over what happens next. Pastor Daniel turned toward Kairo. And why are you agreeing? Kairo could not give the complete answer. Because Amara asked, Kairo said, that is not enough. It is enough for today. Pastor Daniel shook his head. Marriage is not a weapon. No, Kairo replied. But sometimes marriage begins as an escape and becomes something else. Amara looked at Kairo, surprised by the calm certainty in his voice. Pastor Daniel refused to complete a legal civil registration without the proper documents and waiting process. Kairo accepted. Amara and Kairo instead exchanged solemn public vows before the remaining guests, with the understanding that the civil papers would be completed as soon as legally possible. Pastor Daniel gave Amara 3 separate chances to stop. Amara did not. Kairo gave Amara one final opportunity at the altar. You can leave alone, Kairo whispered. No one would call that weakness. They already have names prepared for me, Amara whispered back. I would rather choose the one name they did not expect. Amara placed her hand in Kairo's. When Pastor Daniel pronounced them husband and wife, silence filled the hall before shocked voices exploded across it. Dayo's smile disappeared. Sade's expression tightened. Chief Emeka walked out before the final prayer. Mrs. Nneka followed, carrying Amara's handbag. Kairo leaned closer to Amara. Do you have anything outside this building? Amara looked down at the wedding gown covering her body. Only this. Kairo glanced toward Dayo, who had entered quietly during the ceremony. Dayo's face revealed no surprise, but Kairo knew his assistant well enough to recognize disbelief. Arrange the car, Kairo said. Dayo looked at Amara, then at Kairo's wheelchair. Yes, sir. Amara noticed the title but assumed Dayo spoke respectfully because Kairo came from an older family. Outside the hotel, reporters had begun gathering. Someone had already uploaded Amara's proposal. The clip was spreading faster than the video of Dayo's rejection. Kairo offered Amara a plain jacket to cover the upper part of her gown. Amara accepted. Dayo opened the back of an ordinary dark vehicle and prepared the wheelchair ramp. Amara entered without asking where they were going. For the first 10 minutes, neither Amara nor Kairo spoke. Lagos moved around them in evening traffic, bright and indifferent. Amara watched wedding decorations blur beyond the window. Every flower, white ribbon, and passing bridal billboard seemed designed to mock her. Finally, Kairo said, "You may cry." Amara kept looking outside. I have cried enough in front of people who enjoyed it. I will not. That is what everyone says before they discover pain can become inconvenient. Kairo studied Amara. You believe I will regret saying yes. I believe you already should. Do you? Amara's fingers tightened around the jacket. Ask me tomorrow. The bungalow stood on a quiet street in Surulere. It was comfortable but deliberately modest. 2 bedrooms, a small living room, a courtyard, and a kitchen with clean but ordinary appliances. Kairo owned every property on the street through one of Adeyemi Crown's subsidiaries. Amara saw only a simple home. Dayo helped Kairo enter, then left after placing a small overnight bag inside. Amara remained near the door. Kairo gestured toward the hallway. The room on the left is yours. And your room. The room on the right. Amara looked relieved. Kairo noticed. I will not touch you because a pastor said we are married, Kairo said. Consent did not disappear with the vows. A painful laugh escaped Amara. The stranger I married understands marriage better than the man I almost married. Kairo's expression softened. Amara entered the bedroom and closed the door. She stood in the center of the room until the silence became unbearable. Then Amara sat on the edge of the bed and finally cried. The crying came without elegance. Amara pressed both hands against her mouth, but the sound escaped anyway. She cried for the wedding she had designed since childhood, for the father who had chosen debt over his daughter, for the mother who had not lived long enough to protect her, and for the terrible decision waiting outside the bedroom in a wheelchair. Kairo heard every broken breath. Kairo could have stood, crossed the hallway, and reached Amara's door in seconds. Instead, Kairo remained in the wheelchair because the truth would destroy the strange trust Amara had offered before that trust had even formed. For the first time, Kairo understood what Mama Adeyemi meant. The test was already costing someone else more than it cost him. The following morning, Amara entered the kitchen wearing a simple shirt and loose trousers that Dayo had delivered before sunrise. Her long hair was tied back. Her eyes were swollen but dry. Kairo sat at the table with tea. Amara placed the wedding ring Pastor Daniel had given them during the ceremony beside Kairo's cup. Kairo looked at it. Is this your decision? I made my decision yesterday without thinking. Amara sat opposite him. Today I want to think. Kairo waited. I do not love you, Amara said. I know. I married you because I was angry. I know. I may have destroyed both our lives. That has not been proven. Amara almost smiled. Kairo continued. The civil marriage has not been registered. We can end this without legal complications. Amara looked toward the window. That would make Dayo right. This should not be about Dayo. I know. Amara turned back. That is why I am not leaving today. Kairo's gaze sharpened. I spent 3 years arranging my life around a man who believed my value came from property, Amara said. Yesterday, I arranged my future around proving him wrong. Both choices gave Dayo too much power. I need time to discover what I want when Dayo is no longer part of the answer. What are you suggesting? 90 days. Kairo leaned back slightly. We live respectfully for 90 days, Amara said. No promises we cannot keep. No pretending this began as love. At the end of 90 days, we decide whether to register the marriage officially or walk away. The word pretending struck Kairo harder than Amara could have known. Kairo nodded. 90 days. And honesty. Kairo's chest tightened. Amara extended her hand. No secret relationships, no hidden debts, and no decisions about each other without speaking first. Kairo accepted her hand. Agreed, Kairo said, committing the first betrayal of their arrangement before breakfast. Amara began the first day of her unexpected marriage with no money and no family. Mrs. Nneka had kept Amara's handbag, phone, bank cards, and car keys. Chief Emeka had already instructed the family accountant to block Amara's access to the Eze accounts. Kairo offered money. Amara refused. I need enough for transportation, Amara said. I will repay it. You are my wife. For 90 days. Kairo gave Amara a small amount without argument. Amara traveled to the old building her mother had left behind. Ifoma House stood on valuable land near a rapidly developing district, but the building itself was tired. The front shutters needed paint. Rain had damaged part of the roof. Inside, 6 sewing machines stood beneath dust covers. Ifoma Eze had once trained widows and young mothers to design clothing, sew uniforms, and support themselves. After Ifoma's death, Chief Emeka reduced the program until only the property remained. Amara unlocked the front door with a spare key hidden beneath a broken tile. The familiar scent of cloth, old wood, and machine oil nearly broke her again. A framed photograph of Ifoma stood on a shelf. Amara touched the frame. I made a terrible decision, Mama, Amara whispered. The woman in the photograph continued smiling. Amara spent the afternoon cleaning. By evening, Amara had made another decision. If her family refused to give her anything, she would rebuild the one thing they had failed to destroy. Amara returned to the bungalow carrying fabric samples and dust on her dress. Kairo waited in the courtyard. "You were gone for 9 hours," Kairo said. Amara stopped. "Is that a complaint?" "It is concern. They sound similar when spoken by controlling men." Kairo accepted the correction. "Where were you?" "At my mother's workshop." Kairo already knew the property from the investigation. He kept his expression neutral. "I am reopening it," Amara said. "With what money?" "With the little I have and the work I can earn." Kairo looked at the scratches on Amara's hands. "You cleaned it alone." "I have 2 hands. You also have a husband." "For 89 more days." Kairo rolled closer. "A husband can still carry a broom." Amara glanced at the wheelchair, then immediately looked ashamed of the assumption that crossed her face. Kairo noticed. "You may ask," Kairo said. "I was not going to. You were wondering what I can do." "No." Amara folded her arms. "I was wondering what you think you cannot do." Kairo stared at her. Amara continued, "I do not know your condition. I will not guess. Tell me what help you want. Do not wait for me to decide that you need it." No woman had ever spoken to Kairo that way. People usually offered too much help or none at all. Amara offered choice. Kairo smiled faintly. "I can carry a broom." The next morning, Kairo accompanied Amara to Ifoma House. Kairo swept while Amara scrubbed tables. Kairo repaired a sewing machine pedal with tools from the storage room. Amara climbed a short ladder to remove damaged fabric from a shelf. The ladder shifted. For one dangerous second, Kairo forgot the wheelchair. Kairo's feet pressed against the footrests. His hands moved toward the armrests, preparing to stand. Amara caught the shelf and steadied herself. Kairo forced his body back into the chair before Amara looked down. "You nearly frightened me to death," Kairo said. Amara climbed down. "I thought you were emotionally guarded." "I am discovering marriage damages emotional discipline." Amara laughed for the first time since the wedding. The sound surprised them both. The first week settled into a rhythm neither had expected. Amara worked at Ifoma House during the day. Kairo claimed to manage small online investments and consulting work from home. In reality, a private vehicle collected Kairo from a rear street after Amara left. Kairo would transfer from the wheelchair, enter Adeyemi Crown Holdings through an underground executive entrance, change into a navy suit, and spend hours controlling banks, hotels, shipping companies, construction firms, and media investments. By late afternoon, Kairo returned to the bungalow, changed into simple clothes, and resumed the wheelchair. Dayo managed the deception with professional silence. Dayo also continued investigating Dayo Lawson. The evidence grew. Dayo had used copies of Ifoma House's deed as collateral for a development loan. Chief Emeka's signature appeared on several authorizations. Amara's signature appeared on one document dated 2 months before the wedding. Amara had never signed it. "The fraud reaches the family," Dayo told Kairo inside the executive office. "Not Amara. We do not know that." Kairo looked through the glass wall at Lagos below. Amara refused to transfer the land in front of hundreds of people. "That may prove innocence," Dayo said. "It may also prove Amara changed sides when the arrangement became public." Kairo turned sharply. Dayo remained calm. "You asked for truth, not reassurance." Kairo hated the doubt because doubt was the reason the wheelchair existed, yet Kairo could not ignore the documents. "Continue quietly," Kairo ordered. "What about Dayo's pending investment? Freeze the review. Because of the fraud? Because of the fraud." Dayo's expression suggested another question. Kairo answered it anyway. "Not because Dayo humiliated my wife." The word wife lingered after Dayo left. At Ifoma House, Amara found 2 former students of her mother willing to return part-time. A local school ordered 20 uniforms. Amara worked until her fingers cramped, then came home and cooked simple meals because Kairo's cooking threatened both the kitchen and their survival. One evening, Amara found Kairo staring at a burned pot. "What happened?" Amara asked. "The rice betrayed me. You used no water. I believed the tomatoes would contribute." Amara covered her mouth, but laughter escaped. Kairo looked offended. "This is not a small tragedy. It is a crime scene." Amara moved behind Kairo and reached for the pot. Kairo turned at the same moment. Their faces came close. The laughter faded. Amara noticed the depth of Kairo's eyes and the clean line of his beard. Kairo noticed a loose curl resting against Amara's cheek. Neither moved. Then the smoke detector began screaming. Amara jumped back, laughing again. Kairo opened the windows while Amara rescued the kitchen. That night, Amara carried 2 plates into the courtyard. They ate bread and eggs beneath warm lights because the rice remained beyond forgiveness. "Why were you at the hotel?" Amara asked. Kairo had prepared answers for business questions, family questions, and medical questions. He had not prepared for ordinary curiosity. "I was watching people," Kairo said. "That sounds suspicious." "I study behavior." "Professionally?" "Sometimes." Amara looked at the wheelchair. "Were you waiting for someone?" Kairo could have lied more easily than he told the partial truth. "I spent years around women who liked what they believed I could provide," Kairo said. "I wanted to know whether anyone could respect me without expecting a reward." Amara's expression softened. "Someone hurt you." "Yes, and now everyone else must prove they are different." Kairo looked at Amara. Amara tore a piece of bread. "That is a dangerous way to live. You married a stranger to punish someone who hurt you." Amara nodded. "That is why I recognize dangerous decisions." Their eyes met across the table. For the first time, Kairo felt as though Amara could see the shape of his lie even if she could not yet see the details. Dayo expected Amara to return within a week. After 2 weeks, Dayo sent flowers to Ifoma House. The card said, "When the performance ends, call me." Amara placed the flowers outside and gave them to a woman selling fruit. After 3 weeks, Sade visited. Sade arrived in an expensive car wearing sunglasses and the satisfaction of someone who believed victory should be witnessed. Amara continued measuring fabric. Sade looked around the workshop. "So this is your life now? This was Mama's life. There are worse inheritances." Sade touched a dusty shelf. "Dayo says the land will eventually belong to the development company. Chief Emeka is challenging Mama Ifoma's will. Dayo says many things before discovering documents." Sade's smile faded. Amara glanced at Sade's stomach. "How is the baby?" Sade recovered quickly. "Healthy. You are not showing. It is early. The report you displayed at my wedding claimed 12 weeks. Sade folded her arms. "Stress affects women differently. Apparently stress also changes mathematics." Sade stepped closer. "You should worry less about me and more about the man you dragged from the hotel entrance. Does Kairo even work? He does not ask me to surrender property before showing affection. That already places Kairo above Dayo. You think dignity will pay bills? No, that is why I work." Sade's gaze moved toward the sewing machines. "Dayo can still give you a comfortable life." "Then why is Dayo sending you to convince me?" Sade's confidence cracked for half a second. Amara saw it. Sade left with a final warning that poverty destroyed romance faster than betrayal. That evening, Amara told Kairo everything. Kairo listened without interruption. "Do you believe Sade is pregnant?" Kairo asked. "No. Why did Dayo choose Sade publicly?" "To humiliate me and make the cancellation appear emotional instead of financial." Amara threaded a needle. Dayo needed the audience to believe he left because Sade was carrying Dayo's child. Otherwise, people would ask why the land transfer papers were prepared before the vows. Kairo watched Amara work. "You understand Dayo's plan clearly?" "I understood too late." Kairo thought of the forged signature. Late is not the same as never. The following morning, Adeyemi Crown Holdings suspended every loan connected to Lawson urban projects. The official reason was suspected collateral fraud. Dayo's company lost access to 3 major credit facilities in one day. Chief Emeka's logistics company lost a transport contract linked to the same development. Dayo demanded an emergency meeting with the mysterious chairman of Adeyemi Crown Holdings. Dayo replied that the chairman remained unavailable. Dayo began calling Kairo a cowardly ghost. At the bungalow, Amara knew nothing about the corporate storm. Amara was more concerned about the electricity bill and a wedding dress order that could save Ifoma House. The bride who placed the order was the daughter of a wealthy family. Amara worked for 4 nights to complete the dress. On the morning of the fitting, the bride's mother entered the workshop, recognized Amara from the viral wedding video, and looked toward Kairo's wheelchair. "So the story is true," the woman said. Amara remained professional. "The dress is ready." The woman examined the gown, then lowered her voice. "You are too beautiful to spend your life caring for a man like that." Kairo heard from across the room. Amara folded the veil carefully. A man like what? The woman looked uncomfortable. Limited. Amara faced her fully. Kairo's chair limits where badly designed buildings allow Kairo to go. Kairo's chair does not limit Kairo's intelligence, dignity, or value. The woman's face reddened. I was trying to help. Then help by paying the remaining balance. Kairo lowered his gaze to hide the emotion in his eyes. After the customer left, Kairo said, "You may have lost future business. Then future business should learn manners. You did not need to defend me." Amara returned to the sewing table. I was defending my workshop. Cruelty is bad for the atmosphere. Kairo rolled closer. Only the atmosphere? Amara looked at Kairo. The silence changed. Amara's voice softened. No, not only the atmosphere. Kairo wanted to tell her everything. Instead, Kairo reached for Amara's hand. Amara allowed Kairo to hold it. Their first kiss happened 6 weeks after the wedding. Rain had trapped them inside Ifoma house after dark. Water drummed against the roof while the electricity flickered. Amara lit 2 candles and placed them on the cutting table. Kairo watched Amara move between shadows and golden light. What? Amara asked. You look different here. I am wet. You look alive. Amara became still. Kairo continued. At the hotel, you looked like someone standing inside the ruins of a future. Here, you look like someone building another one. Amara sat on the edge of the table. Sometimes I still wake up expecting to be Dayo's wife. Do you regret not becoming Dayo's wife? I regret spending so long trying. Kairo moved closer. Amara looked down at Kairo. Do you regret saying yes? No. You answered quickly. I have had 6 weeks to reconsider. And I would say yes more quickly now. Amara's breath caught. Kairo touched one loose curl near Amara's cheek. Kairo gave Amara enough time to turn away. Amara did not. The kiss began gently, almost cautiously. Then Amara's hand rested against Kairo's jaw, and caution became warmth. For the first time since the wedding, Amara felt chosen without being evaluated. Kairo felt something more dangerous. Kairo felt loved while knowing the love had been built inside a lie. The next morning, Mama Adebisi arrived at the bungalow without warning. Kairo nearly stood when the door opened. Mama Adebisi entered wearing ivory lace and a gold-trimmed jewel, carrying authority more effectively than security guards. Amara greeted Mama Adebisi respectfully. Mama Adebisi looked around the modest living room, then at Kairo's wheelchair. Kairo, your experiment has lasted long enough, Mama Adebisi said. Amara glanced between them. Experiment? Kairo's heartbeat changed. Mama Adebisi looked at Kairo for a long moment before answering. Kairo's experiment in living away from family comfort. Kairo understood the rescue and the warning within it. Amara prepared tea. Mama Adebisi asked direct questions about the marriage. Did you marry Kairo because of the Adeyemi name? I did not know whether the Adeyemi name belonged to wealth or debt, Amara said. Did you marry Kairo because you felt sorry for Kairo? No. Why then? Amara placed the teapot down. Because my groom rejected me and I wanted to prove my life had not ended. Mama Adebisi's eyebrows rose. Amara continued before Mama Adebisi could speak. That is not a respectable reason. It is only the truth. And why have you remained? Amara looked toward Kairo. That answer has changed. Kairo's chest tightened. Mama Adebisi noticed everything. Before leaving, Mama Adebisi asked Amara to show her Ifoma house. Mama Adebisi spent 2 hours speaking with the women who had returned to train there. Mama Adebisi purchased 3 dresses without requesting a discount and refused special treatment. At the car, Mama Adebisi turned toward Kairo. Tell Amara. I will. When? Soon. Soon is the favorite word of cowards. Kairo's jaw tightened. I need the fraud investigation completed. No, you need certainty. Certainty is what frightened men demand before offering honesty. Kairo looked toward Ifoma house, where Amara stood laughing with one of the seamstresses. Mama Adebisi lowered her voice. Amara has passed every test you created. The remaining failure belongs to you. Kairo knew Mama Adebisi was right. That night, Kairo decided to reveal everything after the upcoming Adeyemi Crown Gala. Kairo planned to take Amara somewhere private before the event, stand in front of her, and tell the truth without an audience. The decision came too late. Dayo's financial problems worsened. Lawson Urban Projects missed payroll. Creditors appeared at the office. Chief Emeka blamed Amara for refusing to sign the land transfer. Mrs. Nneka blamed Sade for failing to control Dayo. Sade discovered Dayo had delayed their promised marriage and had begun meeting another investor's daughter. The family that had stood united while humiliating Amara began tearing itself apart. Then Chief Emeka came to Ifoma House. Amara had not seen her father since the wedding. Chief Emeka entered without greeting Kairo, who sat near the doorway. "You must speak to the Ademis," Chief Emeka told Amara. "Why? Your husband carries their name. Kairo's family left Kairo with a small allowance. You made that very clear at the wedding." Chief Emeka ignored the reminder. "Adeyemi Crown has frozen our financing. The chairman refuses to meet Dayo. You are now connected to that family, however weakly. Use the connection." Amara stared at her father. "You want the daughter you disowned to save the company you chose over her. I said things in anger. You removed my access to my own money. You embarrassed us. Dayo demanded my mother's land. Land is replaceable." Amara's expression changed. "That is why Mama left it to me instead of you." Chief Emeka struck the cutting table with his palm. "Do not become arrogant because a crippled Adeyemi married you." Kairo's face became still. Amara moved between Chief Emeka and Kairo. "Leave," Amara said. Chief Emeka looked shocked. "You are ordering your father out? I am ordering a man who insulted my husband out of my mother's building." Chief Emeka pointed toward Kairo. "This man cannot protect you." Amara's voice dropped. "Kairo protected me by respecting the word no. That is more protection than you gave me in 27 years. Chief Emeka left, promising that Amara would regret choosing a stranger over blood. Kairo waited until the door closed. "Amara," Kairo said quietly. Amara turned. "Would you truly remain with me if my circumstances never changed?" Amara approached Kairo. "What circumstances?" "This house, the chair, the limited money, the distance from my family." Amara lowered herself onto a stool so their eyes were level. "I married you because I was angry," Amara said. "I stayed because you were kind. I fell in love with you because you never asked me to become smaller so you could feel bigger." Kairo forgot how to breathe. Amara smiled nervously. "That was my confession. You should say something." Kairo could have ended the lie. Instead, Kairo kissed Amara. The kiss was tender, desperate, and unforgivably incomplete. The gala took place 4 days later at the Adeyemi Crown Grand Hotel, the same hotel where Amara's first wedding had collapsed. Mama Adebisi invited Amara and Kairo personally. Amara wore a deep emerald gown she had designed herself. Kairo wore a tailored dark suit while seated in the wheelchair. Guests noticed them immediately. Some recognized Amara from the viral wedding video. Others whispered about Kairo's surname. Dayo attended because Lawson Urban Projects had been promised a final review before complete rejection. Sade arrived beside Dayo, though their smiles looked manufactured. Chief Emeka and Mrs. Nneka followed. Vanessa Adebio entered wearing champagne gold. Vanessa recognized Kairo instantly, but confusion crossed Vanessa's face when Vanessa saw the wheelchair. Vanessa approached while Amara was briefly speaking with Mama Adebisi. "What are you doing?" Vanessa whispered. Kairo's expression hardened. "Walk away. You disappeared for 18 months and returned like this?" Vanessa. Vanessa looked toward Amara. "Does Amara know?" Kairo's silence answered. Vanessa smiled slowly. "So the great Kairo Adeyemi is testing another woman. This does not concern you. It concerned me when you ended our engagement over one private conversation. You revealed the truth, and now you are living inside a lie." Amara returned before Kairo could respond. Vanessa studied Amara. "You must be the brave bride." Amara heard the insult beneath the praise. "And you must be someone who introduces herself after speaking to another woman's husband." Vanessa smiled. "Vanessa Adebio." Amara Eze. Vanessa leaned closer. "Be careful, Amara." Dayo took the stage with confidence that had survived beyond reason. Dayo described a luxury development that would transform the district surrounding Ifoma House. A large rendering appeared behind Dayo. Amara's mother's building was missing. Amara stood. "That project uses my land," Amara said. Every face turned. Dayo smiled into the microphone. "The land is under lawful transfer." "No, it is not." Chief Emeka rose. "Sit down, Amara." Amara walked toward the stage. Dayo lifted a document. Amara signed authorization months before the wedding. I never signed that. Dayo's smile sharpened. Then perhaps marriage to an unemployed wheelchair man has affected your memory. Laughter came from several guests. Kairo's hands closed over the armrests. Amara faced Dayo. Present the original. The chairman's legal team has already reviewed it. Dayo entered from the side of the stage carrying a dark folder. Dayo smiled with relief. At last, perhaps the chairman will finally stop hiding. Dayo approached the microphone. The chairman has reviewed the documents, Dayo said. The signature attributed to Amara Eze is forged. The title documents submitted by Lawson Urban Projects are fraudulent. Adeyemi Crown Holdings rejects the proposed investment and has referred the matter for criminal investigation. Dayo's face changed. Chief Emeka stood completely still. Sade stepped away from Dayo. Dayo pointed toward Dayo. You are only an assistant. Bring out the coward who sent you. Dayo looked toward Kairo. The room followed Dayo's gaze. Dayo laughed. Do not tell me the chairman is hiding behind that chair. Kairo looked at Amara. This was not how Kairo intended to reveal the truth, yet there was no private path left. Kairo placed both hands firmly against the armrests. Amara watched in confusion as Kairo leaned forward. Then Kairo stood. The first reaction was not a gasp. It was silence so complete that the air conditioning became audible. Kairo straightened to his full height. Kairo's broad shoulders filled the dark suit. Kairo took one step, then another, leaving the wheelchair behind. Amara did not move. Dayo's mouth opened. Chief Emeka gripped the back of a chair. Vanessa closed her eyes briefly, as though a final prediction had come true. Kairo walked onto the stage. Dayo stepped aside. Dayo Lawson asked to meet the chairman of Adeyemi Crown Holdings, Kairo said. The request is granted. The room erupted. Cameras lifted. Guests stood. Reporters pushed toward the stage. Dayo looked between Kairo and the empty wheelchair. This is impossible. No, Kairo replied. The fraudulent project was impossible. The investigation only made the failure official. Chief Emeka moved toward Amara. You knew. Amara did not hear him. Amara stared at Kairo's legs. Kairo walked toward Amara. Amara stepped back. You can walk. Yes. The single word cut deeper than any explanation could repair. You could always walk. Yes. You are the chairman? Yes. Amara's eyes filled with tears, but her voice remained quiet. The bungalow? Mine, Dayo. My executive assistant. The allowance? There was no allowance. The unpaid bill? Kairo could not answer immediately. Amara understood. When I sold Mama's earrings to help us, Amara said, you had billions. I returned the earrings through the shop owner. That is not the point. I know. When people insulted you, when I defended you, when I worried about your future, when I asked whether your family had abandoned you, were you measuring every answer? Kairo reached toward Amara. Amara moved away. I was trying to find someone who could love me without money or power, Kairo said. Amara laughed once, broken and disbelieving. You found that woman the day I married you. I needed to be certain. No, you needed control. Amara, Dayo wanted my land, so Dayo lied. My father wanted to save his company, so my father lied. You wanted proof of my heart, so you lied. Amara wiped a tear. Every man says the reason makes the betrayal different. It is different. Only to the man explaining it. The entire room listened. Kairo lowered his voice. What I feel for you is real. What I felt for you was real too. That is why this hurts. Amara removed the simple wedding ring from her finger. Kairo's face changed. Amara placed the ring in Kairo's palm. I did not leave the poor man in the wheelchair, Amara said. I am leaving the billionaire who turned my love into an examination. Amara walked out of the gala. Kairo did not follow. For the first time in Kairo's life, power offered no useful action. Security could clear a path. Money could stop the cameras. Lawyers could control statements. None of it could force Amara to turn around. Mama Adebisi approached Kairo after the doors closed. You discovered the answer, Mama Adebisi said. Amara loved you. Kairo looked at the ring in his hand. Mama Adebisi's voice softened. Now you must live with what the question cost. Amara returned to Ifoma House and locked the door behind her. For 2 days, Amara did not answer calls. On the 3rd day, Kairo came alone. Kairo stood outside the workshop without a wheelchair, security, or expensive car. Amara watched through the window, but did not open the door. Kairo left an envelope beneath it. Inside were documents granting Amara complete legal freedom from the marriage ceremony, a public statement accepting full responsibility for the deception, and ownership papers proving that Ifoma House had been placed beyond the reach of Chief Emeka, Dayo, and Adeyemi Crown Holdings. The property remained entirely Amara's. A handwritten note rested on top. I wanted a woman who would choose me without my money. I found Amara. Then I behaved like my fear mattered more than Amara's right to the truth. I will not ask forgiveness before earning the right to be heard. The papers give Amara every choice I should have given from the beginning. Amara read the note twice. Amara did not call. The scandal consumed Lagos. Some media outlets called Amara a gold digger who had accidentally married a billionaire. Kairo held a press conference within hours. Amara Eze did not know my identity, Kairo said before dozens of cameras. Amara believed I had limited money and could not walk. Amara worked to support our home. Amara defended me when society mocked me. Any suggestion that Amara pursued wealth is false. The deception belonged entirely to me. Kairo also acknowledged that pretending to have a disability had been arrogant and harmful. I treated a life experienced by millions as a costume I could remove, Kairo said. The fact that I intended to test character does not excuse the disrespect. I will answer for that privately and publicly. The statement changed the public conversation, but it did not repair the marriage. Amara focused on Ifoma House. Orders increased after the gala. Some customers came out of sympathy. Amara rejected anyone who wanted photographs more than clothing. Amara hired more women, repaired the roof, and created a small childcare room for mothers attending training. Kairo stayed away unless Amara requested help. Kairo's lawyers provided evidence against Dayo and Chief Emeka without demanding meetings. Dayo communicated through formal emails. Mama Adebisi visited Ifoma House as a customer, never as a messenger. Months passed. Dayo's case became more dangerous. Investigators discovered the forged signature, falsified collateral, and hidden payments. Inspector Chidi Musa led the financial crimes investigation. Sade's pregnancy was confirmed to be false after the clinic named on the report denied issuing it. Dayo blamed Sade. Sade blamed Mrs. Nneka. Chief Emeka blamed everyone except himself. Then Dayo found the original problem no investigation had solved. The authentic deed and Ifoma's handwritten trust instructions remained missing. Without those originals, Dayo believed a clever lawyer could still create enough confusion to delay Amara's ownership. Sade remembered where Ifoma had hidden important papers, behind an old wall panel inside the workshop. Sade sent Amara a message claiming that Sade had found a final letter from Ifoma. Amara knew the message might be a trap, but the mention of her mother weakened caution. Amara informed Dayo that she was meeting Sade at the workshop after hours. Amara did not contact Kairo. When Amara arrived, Dayo was already inside. Sade stood near the cutting table, nervous and pale. Dayo locked the door. "You will sign one final transfer," Dayo said. Amara looked toward Sade. There was no letter. Sade avoided Amara's eyes. Dayo placed papers on the table. "Sign, and the investigation ends quietly. The investigation will not disappear because you own land. The land gives me leverage. You have no company left." Dayo's face twisted. "Kairo destroyed it because of you. Kairo suspended fraudulent loans because of you." Dayo grabbed Amara's wrist. Amara pulled away. "You ruined my wedding, my company, and my name," Dayo said. "You did that when you chose greed." Sade began crying. "Dayo, this was supposed to frighten Amara." Dayo said nobody would touch Amara. Amara looked toward Sade. "What else did Dayo promise?" Sade shook her head. Amara placed her phone inside a fabric basket, the recording already running. Dayo opened a fuel container. Sade stepped back. "Why did Dayo bring that?" "Insurance," Dayo replied. Amara's blood went cold. Dayo poured fuel across old fabric near the rear storage room. "If Amara refuses to sign, the fire destroys the building, the records, and the last evidence." "And us?" Sade asked. Dayo looked at Sade with contempt. "Do not become stupid now." Sade finally understood that Dayo had never planned to protect either woman. Sade moved toward the door. Dayo struck Sade across the face. Amara grabbed a heavy metal ruler and swung it against Dayo's arm. The fuel container fell. Dayo lunged toward Amara. Sade reached for the keys inside Dayo's pocket. The three struggled between sewing tables. A candle used during the power outage fell from a shelf. Flame touched fuel. Fire raced across the floor. Smoke rose instantly. Dayo abandoned both women and ran toward the back exit, but a fallen cabinet blocked the path. Amara pulled Sade toward the front door. The lock had jammed during the struggle. Sade screamed. Amara wrapped fabric around Amara's hand and struck the small side window with a stool. Glass shattered, but the opening was too narrow. Outside, tires stopped sharply. Dayo had received Amara's message, reviewed the location, and alerted Kairo when Amara failed to respond. Kairo reached the workshop with Inspector Chitty and emergency services only minutes after the fire began. Kairo saw smoke through the windows and ran toward the door. Inspector Chitty ordered Kairo back. Kairo ignored the order. Kairo covered his face with a wet cloth and forced the weakened front door with two security officers. Inside, Amara and Sade were trapped behind a burning table. Kairo reached Amara first. Amara coughed violently. Sade. Kairo turned toward Sade without hesitation. Together, Kairo and a security officer dragged Sade through the smoke. Amara followed, carrying the phone and a metal document box Sade had pulled from the wall panel. Outside, Amara collapsed onto the pavement. Kairo knelt beside Amara. Amara opened her eyes. "You came," Amara whispered. Kairo's face was blackened with smoke. "You told Dayo where you were." "I told Dayo because Dayo is sensible." A weak laugh escaped Kairo. Inspector Chitty arrested Dayo near the rear alley. Dayo had escaped through a broken window and suffered minor burns. The recording on Amara's phone captured Dayo admitting the forged documents, the fake pregnancy arrangement, and the plan to destroy evidence. Sade agreed to cooperate. The metal box contained Ifoma's original deed, trust instructions, and letters proving Chief Emeka had no authority to transfer the land. Chief Emeka was arrested for fraud 2 days later. Mrs. Nneka avoided prison by providing financial records and testimony, but the Eze family lost the company, the mansion, and the social respect Mrs. Nneka had protected more fiercely than her children. Dayo received multiple criminal charges. Sade entered a plea agreement. Sade later wrote Amara a letter asking forgiveness. Amara did not offer immediate forgiveness, but Amara agreed that Sade could begin again after accepting consequences. Kairo visited Amara at the hospital only after Amara gave permission. Kairo stood beside the bed, hands empty. "You saved Sade," Amara said. "Sade was trapped. You could have left Sade." "No," Amara studied Kairo. The old Kairo might have decided whether Sade deserved saving. Kairo accepted the judgment. The old Kairo believed fear made Kairo wise. And now Kairo understands fear only made Kairo careful enough to hurt people slowly. Amara looked toward the window. Kairo continued, "I am not here to ask Amara to return." "Why are you here?" "To answer any question Amara asks, truthfully, even if the answer ends everything." Amara looked back. "Did you ever plan to reveal the truth before the gala?" Amara asked. "Yes, I planned to tell Amara before the event. Then I delayed because I wanted the fraud investigation complete." "Were there tests after the wedding?" "Yes." Amara's expression tightened. Kairo did not hide. "I allowed a false notice about delayed income," Kairo admitted. "I wanted to see whether Amara would complain." Amara sold earrings. "I recovered them, but that did not repair the manipulation." "What else?" "I listened when Vanessa offered Amara money to leave." Amara looked surprised. "Vanessa never offered me money." Kairo became still. Amara almost smiled. "At least one crime does not belong to you." Kairo released a breath. "Did you love me before you knew whether I passed?" Amara asked. Kairo answered immediately. "Yes." "When?" "The day Amara defended Ifoma House without knowing whether Amara would lose a family." "I admired Amara before that." "I loved Amara when Amara chose principle, while everyone offered comfort in exchange for surrender." "Then why continue?" "Because love frightened Kairo more than doubt. If Amara was false, Kairo would be hurt. If Amara was real, Kairo would have something valuable enough to lose." Amara's eyes filled. Kairo's voice broke for the first time. "I found what I wanted and became terrified of believing it." Amara did not forgive Kairo that day, but Amara allowed Kairo to return the following week. Then the week after that. Kairo did not arrive with gifts. Kairo brought food once and discovered Amara disliked the restaurant. Kairo remembered the next time. Kairo helped repair the workshop without controlling the reconstruction. Kairo sat through meetings where Amara made decisions Kairo would have made differently and kept quiet unless Amara requested advice. Kairo gave Amara full access to the truth of his life. Financial interests, family relationships, security arrangements, mistakes, and fears. There were no tests, no secret recordings, no staged poverty, no hidden rooms where Kairo stood after pretending not to. Mama Adeyemi watched the slow rebuilding with patience. One afternoon, Mama Adeyemi sat beside Amara in the courtyard of Ifoma House. Kairo has loved badly, Mama Adeyemi said. That does not mean Kairo cannot learn to love well. Love is not the only problem. I know, trust is a bridge built slower than love. Amara looked toward Kairo, who was helping several trainees move tables. Kairo looks different without the wheelchair, Amara said. Does Amara prefer Kairo standing? Amara considered the question. I prefer Kairo honest. 6 months after the fire, Ifoma House reopened as a full training and enterprise center for women. The building included classrooms, a childcare room, a bridal showroom, and small business offices. Amara stood at the entrance beneath a sign carrying her mother's name. Kairo attended, but remained among the guests. Amara gave a speech about women being denied choices by families, husbands, poverty, and fear. Amara spoke about rebuilding a life without pretending the ruins had never existed. When the applause ended, Amara looked toward Kairo. Kairo Adeyemi, Amara said. Every face turned. Kairo walked forward. Amara held out the original wedding ring. Kairo stopped. The first time I gave Kairo a hand, Amara said, I was angry, humiliated, and trying to prove that another man had not destroyed me. Kairo listened silently. The second time Kairo offered a hand, Kairo gave me separation papers and the freedom to walk away. Amara stepped closer. For 6 months, Kairo has not asked me to prove anything. Kairo's eyes became bright. Amara placed the ring in Kairo's palm. I am not ready to pretend the past did not happen. I would never ask that. But I am ready to build something that does not depend on pretending. Kairo closed his fingers around the ring. Is that forgiveness? Kairo asked. It is permission to ask properly. Kairo smiled for the first time in weeks. Kairo lowered himself onto one knee. The guests gasped and then laughed warmly at the symbolism. Amara Eze, Kairo said. The first time Amara asked Kairo to marry Amara, Kairo said yes